good evening. And tonight, we're going to travel back to a time long before alarm clocks, coffee, traffic jams, and a familiar sound of phone buzzing beside the bed. Take a moment to get comfortable. Maybe pull up a blanket, settle into your favorite chair, or simply close your eyes if you're listening before sleep. Our journey tonight begins not with a speeding train or a busy highway, but with a narrow dirt path that has not yet earned the name road. Now, think about your own commute. Maybe you drive to work. Maybe you ride a bus, hop on a train, pedal a bike, or simply walk down the street. Some people spend 10 minutes getting to work. Others spend more than an hour wondering why every traffic light suddenly turns red at exactly the wrong moment. It turns out people have been making daily journeys to work for far longer than most of us imagine. Not hundreds of years, not even a few thousand. The story of commuting may be nearly as old as villages themselves. Of course, the first commuters would have found the word commute very strange. They didn't have office buildings, parking lots, or rush hour radio stations telling them which muddy path was the least muddy today. But they did have somewhere they needed to be. And every morning, they got up and went there. That simple routine has connected people across thousands of years. Tonight, we'll follow those first travelers. We'll see where they lived, where they worked, and why they walked the same paths day after day until their footprints slowly became the world's first roads. Our story begins about 10,000 years ago. For most of human history, people did not stay in one place for very long. Small groups moved across forests, grasslands, mountains, and rivers, following animals, gathering plants, and searching for fresh water. Home was wherever the group happened to stop. Life was always moving. If food disappeared, the people moved. If the seasons changed, they moved. If the animals wandered away, they followed. There wasn't much reason to travel back and forth every day because there was no fixed place called work. Work simply happened wherever you happened to be. But then something remarkable began to happen across different parts of the world. People slowly discovered that seeds planted in the ground could grow into food. They learned that some animals could be raised instead of hunted. Little by little, wandering became settling. Families began building homes that lasted more than a single season. Villages appeared beside rivers, lakes, and fertile land. For the first time, people started thinking about tomorrow in the very same place where they had slept last night. It was a quiet revolution. No one woke up one morning and announced, "Today we invent commuting." History is usually much less dramatic than that. Instead, tiny changes added up over many generations. A family built a house. Another family built theirs nearby. Fields stretched beyond the village. Animals grazed farther away. Water had to be collected. What had to be gathered. Suddenly, people had places they needed to go every single day. And just like that, the first regular journeys began. Imagine standing outside one of these early villages before sunrise. The air is cool. Mist hangs over the nearby fields. A few cooking fires still glow softly from the night before. Dogs stretch after sleeping near the houses. Somewhere, a rooster proudly announces a morning as if it personally invented daylight. People slowly wake, not because an alarm clock rings, not because a calendar reminder pops up. Their clocks are the sky itself. As the eastern horizon begins to glow, the village comes to life. Someone picks up a wooden digging stick. Another carries a stone axe across one shoulder. A woven basket is filled with seeds. A clay water jar is carefully lifted. Children rub sleep from their eyes, while older family members prepare for another day. No one is rushing quite yet. There's work ahead, but there's also a rhythm to life. The same rhythm that has guided human mornings for thousands of years. Soon, people begin leaving the village. One by one, family by family. Some head toward nearby fields. Others walk to riverbanks. A few disappear into woodland to gather wood or watch over animals. Each person follows a path they know almost without thinking. There are no street signs, no maps, no GPS saying, "In 200 steps, turn left." They know every tree, every rock, every bend in the trail, because they have walked it so many times before. This is not adventure. This is routine. And routines have a quiet kind of power. They shape days into weeks, weeks into years, years into lifetimes. Many of these early workers probably walked several miles before reaching the place where the real work began. That may sound exhausting to us. After all, some people today complain when the parking space is too far from the front door of the grocery store. Ancient farmers might have smiled politely at that complaint before continuing another 2-hour walk through muddy fields. The journey itself became part of daily life. Along the way, neighbors met each other, families talked, children learned which plants were safe to eat and which ones were better left alone. Older people passed down stories, while everyone walked together beneath the rising sun. The commute was more than travel. It was also conversation, learning, observation, and sometimes probably a few quiet moments before a long day of work. Of course, these early journeys were not always peaceful. Rain turned paths into deep mud. Streams overflowed after storms. Wild animals sometimes wandered nearby. The weather could change without warning. Still, people kept walking, because staying home usually meant no food later. Their destination mattered. As villages became larger, these daily trips became even more important. Fields spread farther away. More people shared the same paths. The narrow trails slowly became wider. Feet packed soft earth into firm ground. Generation after generation, those simple footpaths became permanent parts of the landscape. Without realizing it, ordinary workers were building history with every step. Thousands of years later, many roads would follow those very same routes. It is a wonderful thought. A busy road today may exist because countless people walk the same path over and over long before anyone imagined cars, bicycles, or trains. The first commuters never expected to make history. They were simply trying to feed their families. That is often how history works. The biggest changes are not always made by kings or famous generals. Sometimes they begin with ordinary people doing ordinary things every single day. Walking, working, returning home, then waking up to do it all again. As our journey is only just beginning, we'll soon see how these simple walks slowly change the world. Villages grew into towns. Towns became cities. Dirt paths became roads. Boats carried workers across rivers. Markets filled with travelers. Eventually, entire civilizations were built around the daily movement of people from home to work and back again. But for now, stay here for one more quiet moment. The sun has finally climbed above the horizon. The village behind you grows smaller with every step. Ahead lies another day of work in the fields. The birds are singing. The morning air is fresh. Your footprints join countless others on the soft earth. Without knowing it, you have just become one of history's very first commuters. The morning has only just begun. Behind you, the little village is slowly waking up. Thin streams of smoke rise from cooking fires. Dogs wander between the houses, hoping someone drops a piece of breakfast. A few children chase each other before they are called back to help with the day's chores. You keep walking. The path beneath your feet feels familiar. You have walked it so many times that you barely need to think about where it goes. Today, it feels normal. But if we could travel back another few thousand years, this morning walk would seem very strange indeed. For most of human history, people simply did not live this way. Long before villages, before farms, and long before anyone worried about getting work on time, our ancestors lived as hunter-gatherers. That means they found food instead of growing it. They hunted wild animals. They caught fish. They picked berries. They dug up roots. They gathered nuts, fruits, and anything else nature was willing to share. Life was always changing. If the deer moved, the people moved. If winter arrived, people searched for better places to survive. If a river dried up, they packed everything they owned and walked somewhere else. Home was never one fixed place. It was wherever the group happened to stop for a little while. Imagine carrying almost everything you own. There are no heavy tables, no large beds, no cupboards full of dishes, no giant collection of things you promise yourself you'll organize next weekend. Life stays simple because everything has to travel with you. For thousands upon thousands of years, this was completely normal. In fact, it worked surprisingly well. Hunter-gatherers understood the land better than almost anyone. They knew where animals traveled. They knew which plant appeared in each season. They understood rivers, forests, weather, and stars in ways that are difficult for many of us to imagine today. But then, slowly, something remarkable happened. People began noticing patterns. Perhaps someone dropped a few seeds near a campsite. Months later, those same plants appeared again. Maybe they realized that planting seeds on purpose worked better than hoping nature would do the job. Nobody knows exactly how farming began. It probably wasn't one great discovery made by one very clever person. Instead, it was likely hundreds of small discoveries made over many generations. One family learned something. Another family copied it. A village tried something new. Little by little, farming spread. This enormous change is known today as the Neolithic Revolution. Despite the dramatic name, it was not a revolution that happened overnight. There were no cheering crowds, no grand speeches, no giant sign saying, "Congratulations! Farming starts today." It was a slow change that lasted thousands of years. That makes it perfect for our bedtime story. As people became better at growing crops like wheat, barley, rice, and millet, something unexpected happened. They no longer needed to keep moving all the time. Food was now growing in one place. Leaving that place for months would mean losing the harvest. So families stayed. Then they stayed another year, and another. Soon, temporary camps became permanent homes. Simple huts became villages. Those villages slowly became communities where everyone knew one another. You could recognize your neighbors. You could borrow a tool. You could help build someone's roof. People started thinking about the future in a completely different way. Instead of asking, "Where will we travel next?" they began asking, "How can we make this place better?" That simple question changed human history forever. Around the village, new jobs appeared. Someone became especially skilled at making stone tools. Another family became good at weaving baskets. Someone else learned how to shape clay into strong pots. Others cared for goats, sheep, pigs, or cattle. People slowly became specialists instead of doing everything themselves. The village became busier every year. Yet something interesting was happening just beyond the houses. The farmland kept growing. At first, fields were very close. But rich soil does not last forever. Some land needed to rest. Some crops grew better farther away. Families claimed different pieces of land, wherever good soil could be found. Before long, a farmer's field might not be right outside the front door anymore. Instead, it could be half an hour away, or an hour, sometimes even farther. That meant every morning began with a walk. Not because someone wanted exercise. There were no fitness watches counting steps. No one proudly announced they had reached 10,000 steps before breakfast. The walking happened because there was simply no other choice. The crops could not come to the village. The farmer had to go to the crops. So each sunrise began in much the same way. Wake up, eat something simple if food was available, gather the tools, check the weather, then start walking. Day after day, season after season, year after year, this routine slowly became one of the oldest habits in human civilization. The distance itself depended on many things. Some villages sat beside excellent farmland. Others were surrounded by forests or rocky ground. Some people crossed streams every morning. Others climbed gentle hills. Many followed winding paths around marshes or thick woods. The route rarely changed. Walking the same path every day created familiarity. People learned exactly where the ground stayed dry after rain. They remembered which trees offered welcome shade during hot summers. They knew where birds nested and where rabbits often appeared. Every bend in the trail became part of daily life. You could almost walk it with your eyes closed, although that probably was not recommended when the path included muddy holes. The morning journey also became surprisingly social. Rarely did people travel completely alone. Families walked together. Neighbors met along the path. Children skipped ahead before being reminded not to wander too far. Older people shared stories they had heard from their own parents. Sometimes the walk was filled with conversation. Sometimes everyone simply enjoyed the quiet sounds of the morning. Only birds, insects, and the gentle wind broke the silence. In many ways, these daily walks helped build stronger communities. People talked while traveling. They shared news. They solved problems. They planned harvests. They arranged celebrations. The path to work became more than a road. It became part of village life. Of course, not every morning was peaceful. Rain soaked clothing long before waterproof jackets existed. Strong winds covered trails with dust. Cold mornings stiffened tired muscles. Summer heat arrived early, making even short walks feel much longer. Still, the fields waited. Crops never took a day off. Neither could the people who depended on them. The reward came later. As tiny green shoots pushed through the soil, every long walk began to feel worthwhile. Weeks later, golden fields stretched across the countryside. The harvest would feed families through another winter. Every step taken along those familiar paths helped make that possible. Without realizing it, these early farmers were creating something that still exists today, a daily journey between home and work. The vehicles have changed, the roads have changed, the clothes have certainly improved, but the idea remains almost exactly the same. Each morning, millions of people leave home with a purpose. Thousands of years ago, that purpose was reaching a field before the sun climbed too high. Today, it might be reaching an office, a classroom, a workshop, or a hospital. The destination has changed. The habit has not. As we continue our journey through history, we'll leave these growing villages behind and follow one ordinary farmer on a full day of work. We'll discover just how far some people walked, what they carried with them, and why the first commute was often the hardest part of the day, even before the real work had begun.